Okay, study objective number one. We're trying to distinguish between standard costs and budgets. Now, standard cost. Standard cost is a predetermined unit cost. Now we're talking units, where budgets are big numbers. So we use this then to measure performance. Because we've produced the product so many times, we should know almost how much material should go into it, how much labor, and how much overhead. That's what we're talking about. Now, standards and budgets are both predetermined costs, but a standard is a unit amount, whereas a budget is a total amount. Standard costs are used most often in cost accounting systems. Okay, let's take a look at the first one. Direct material price standard. Direct material price standards is the cost per unit which should be incurred for the material we use to manufacture our product. We're looking at a desk that we're manufacturing. Okay, we should know exactly how much wood goes into that desk, how much laminate, and so on. And we also add in cost of handling the material, storing, and receiving it. So there's the material quantity standard. We also know exactly how much material should go into each finished goods product, and it's based on our experience. Okay, includes allowance for bad products. So the direct material cost per unit is the standard direct material price times the standard direct materials quantity equals the standard direct material cost per unit. So you see there's a function of two things here. One, the standard material price and the amount. And both of those comprise the total standard for material costs. Now, same thing with labor. We should know exactly how much direct labor should go into each product. We know the rate per hour and how many hours it takes to do that. And so therefore, the direct labor quantity standard is the time required to make 1 unit of product. And this is critical in a labor-intensive company. And it allows for going to the restroom and clean up and machine time and so on. Again, there's two components to the direct labor standard. One is the rate, how much we pay, and how many hours we use to produce the product. So lastly, then, we have the manufacturing overhead standard. The manufacturing standard is a predetermined overhead rate that is used. And we determine that by looking at the budgeted overhead costs and divide it through by how number of units we think we are going to produce. And that standard overhead rate then is a predetermined overhead rate that's applied to each product based on something like direct labor hours. So there you have the three cost elements. Direct material, which is the price for the material times the amount of material used, that's the standard. Direct labor, which is the cost per hour times the number of hours required to produce the product, and manufacturing overhead. And that's how we have the standard cost per unit. It's the sum of the standard cost for direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. So when we produce a desk, we should know exactly, or we should have a standard. We use a standard to figure out how much should have went into that desk in materials, how much should have been the labor, and how much should have been the manufacturing overhead. And that completes that. And I forget how do you stop this thing.